Now, as of right now, if there's something that you all should have realized about President William Ruto, he is a man that likes to benefit people that really supported him financially during the 2022 campaigns. Now, a name of one Mary Wamboi is a name that has always been mentioned several times, not only in the social media but even in the newspapers on her affiliation to President William Ruto. Now, currently, a certain exposure has been done, and this one will surprise you of the amount of money that this woman, who is a multi-billionaire, is currently benefiting from the RUTOS government. Our ex-KNTC boss Pamela Mutua approved a Kenya shillings 3.9 billion payment to Mary Wamboi's farm for overpriced rice. Now, this is an article that has been publicized and exposed by one Cyprian Nyakundi, a great and one of the biggest bloggers and critics of the government of President William Ruto. But one thing I always tell you is Cyprian Nyakundi's information and intel is one that you can 100% count on. Now, taxpayers are now set to cover Kenya shillings 1.7 billion in payments to companies involved in the disputed importation of edible oils and rice after Parliament included the expenditure in the National Treasury's supplementary budget before legislatures went on recess yesterday. The allocation approved by the National Assembly's Liaison Committee directs the funds to the Kenya National Trading Corporation KNTC, whose former CEO, Pamela Mutua, is among those charged over the 2022 importation scheme. This expenditure was not part of the mini budget initially submitted to Parliament. A report from the Liaison Committee, later adopted by Parliament, stated increase Kenya shillings 1.7 billion recurrent to KNTC for financial obligation from edible and rice importation. The committee did not provide any justification for the payments. Gladys Bose-Sholay, the chairperson of the Liaison Committee, has not publicly explained the rationale behind this allocation. Court proceedings have revealed that influential suppliers lobbied Statehouse to fast track their payments amounting to billions of shillings, one of them being Mary Wamboi. The importation program launched in January 2023 to stabilize consumer prices granted politically connected traders duty-free access to import rice, edible oils, beans, and fertilizer. Now, the contracts were awarded through an opaque single sourcing process, raising concerns over irregularities and preferential treatment. KNT's current managing director, Lucy Anangwe, testified in court that Purma Holdings, a company linked to Communications Authority of Kenya board chairperson Mary Wamboi Mongai, received Kenya shillings 3.9 billion for rice valued at 3.1 billion. She further disclosed that Ms. Wamboi sought assistance from the head of public service, Felix Koskei, to expedite payment. At the time of the importation scheme, Ms. Mungai was the sole owner and director of Polma Holdings, which secured multiple supply contracts from KNTC just months before the withdrawal of a Kenya shillings 2.2 billion tax evasion case against the company. Polma Holdings was awarded. Number one, a Kenya shillings 3.9 billion rice contract. Number two, a Kenya shillings 2.5 billion edible oil contract. Number three, a Kenya shillings 3.4 billion beans supply deal. In total, 3.9 plus 2.5 is equal to 6.4. 6.4 plus 3.4 is equal to 9.4 billion. So in total, our companies were awarded a total amount of 9.8 8 billion Kenyan shillings, which is close to 10 billion. Now, Charma Holdings, a company leaked to Ms. Mongai, associate Ruth Waithera Kenyanjui, secured a Kenya shillings 1.95 billion contract for edible oil. Another firm, Evtech General Trading Company Limited, was granted 984 million edible oil contract despite its previous involvement in the Kenya shillings 2.2 billion tax evasion case against Ms. Mungai. Enterprise Supplies Limited, where Ms. Mungai was listed as the sole shareholder, also secured 984 million edible oil contract. Now, as financial irregularities surfaced, former KNTC Managing Director Pamela Mutua and Supply Chain Manager Amos Juma Sikuku were charged with mismanagement, excessive supplier payments, and procurement malpractices. Now, the funds allocated to KNTC were meant to facilitate duty-free imports as part of the Kenya Kwanza administration strategy to lower consumer prices. However, local manufacturers strongly opposed the duty-free importation of edible oils, warning of adverse effects on their businesses. KNTC contracted 4 UAE-based firms: Lamar Commodity Trading, DMCC, Malt Commerce FZC, Loan Trading FZE, and Invest Africa FZCO to supply fertilizer, edible oil, and rice. Now, Invest Africa FZCO, linked to former Trade CS Moses Kuria, transacted through its Kenyan subsidiary Shehena Commodity Limited, which imported edible oil worthy 1.2 billion and sold it to KNTC. Now, Multiple Commerce FZC supplied edible oil worthy Kenya shillings 8.3 billion and 10,000 tons of rice, while Loan Trading FZE providing KNTC with edible oil worth Kenya shillings 7.1 billion and 52,500 tons of rice. Questions intensify over this contract. Critics argue that the scheme primarily benefited politically connected businesses, while taxpayers remain burdened with the financial losses incurred by the state agencies. Now, one thing that you must all understand from the said exposure that has been done, Mary WAMBUI is currently reaping what she sowed. Because during the government of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, this woman was arrested by the DCI. It was said, remember the story that was circulated that she was hiding at Weston Hotel. Remember the story of how she single-handedly funded President William Ruto's campaign back in the year 2021 and 2022. Right now, President William Ruto awarded her a very lucrative position in the government of the day. Now, she is reaping what she saw through being awarded multi-billion contracts. Now, according to the recent stories that have been linked to her, according to our analysis, Ms. Mary WAMBUI has benefited with an amount of about over 50 billion Kenyan shillings through how our companies has been trading with the government of the day. Now that is how this government works. And remember, these contracts that are being awarded to these people affiliated to President William Ruto, they're not being awarded on the basis of competition or on the basis of what is good for the country. They award these contracts to these people so that these people can benefit, because their companies even buy or provide these services at a higher price compared to other companies. Are we together? Now imagine where somebody, you're supposed to provide rice at 3.1 billion, but you ask for 3.9 billion from the government. And to fast track the payment, you go ahead to call the Statehouse. Are we together? What does this tell you? It tells you that this is how the government works. ni gava ya madeals, na rais wenu ni raisi wa madeals. Mkisikia Ruto akiitwa Ruto wa madeals, it's not a joke. Now, many will ask, who is Mary Wambui? Her real name is Mary Wambui. She is a close ally of President William Ruto, recently appointed Communication Authority of Kenya chair. She is a businesswoman, owns Purma Holding, ran into problems during Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. KRA lodged case against her of remittance of taxes in the year 2021, where she was accused of evading 2.2 billion tax. But when Ruto took over, the case was withdrawn in the year 2023. Now, DPP accepted KRA request. Court accepted DPP's prayer to let Wambui off the hook. And now she continues to operate free in the country and to transact businesses under the government of President William Ruto, and currently does businesses direct with the Statehouse of Kenya. Ndiyo serikali. When Gachagua tells you that deals are being made at the Statehouse, now you all know what is being talked about here. And recently also, there is an expose that was done by the Daily Nation where it was publicized that she is currently in a court battle with two foreigners who are currently fighting over a multi-billion hotel in Nairobi called Lee Hotel. Are we together? Now that is Mary Wambui for you. And that is how Rutos award his allies. Business contracts. Look at the other side. There is J.S. Saini benefiting with billions and billions of money through a payroll. Also David D on the other head. The other person on the other head is Humphrey Kariuki, the multi-billionaire. Now that is how this government works. Ni gava ya madeals. It benefits a few, makes a few rich, but wewe mwananchi wa kawaida unaendelea kuteseka. It's a man-eat-man society, and as it is always told by one former, the late president of Burkina Faso, he said, Sankara said, that government eats its own people. Ni nchi ya kitu kidogo hii, kama jinsi ambavyo mwimbaji Eric Wainaina alisema. Ni hayo kwa sasa, achia maoni yako kwenye comment section, tuungane katika video zetu zijazo.